Hello, in this video I'll be showing you how to make a knockout sword in Roblox Studio. Hello, in this video I'll be showing you how to make a knockout sword in Roblox Studio. First you need to make your sword. I already made mine off camera. And then you want to name your blade, blade, and name your handle, handle. Next up, you want to right-click Workspace, Insert Object, and insert a tool. This will be the main basis of our sword. Next up, you want to insert a weld if your sword has many parts. So, what we'll want to do, press Create over here, the arrow, and then a weld. And now you can just connect all your parts together. The reason we want to weld this is because when we select our sword, then all of our parts will be stuck together. Now that we got all our parts welded, select all of our parts and insert it inside the sword. And then next we're going to carry our sword inside the starter pack, which is where the starter pack, any tools inside of here will be in the player's backpack as soon as they join. Next up, we want to insert a script inside the sword. So right-click sword, insert object, and insert a script. First, what we want to do is local blade equals script.Parent.Blade. This means the local, the blade. So when you say local and then the blade part, what blade basically means is script.Parent.Blade. So it's just a shortening. And then script.Parent.Blade, script.Parent.Blade. It's like different levels. Now blade.Touched, connect and do a function. And then what we want to do is do a hit over here. And then if you don't know what, actually, hit.Parent.Humanoid.Sit equals true. Okay, so now if you don't know what any of this means, so blade.Touched, it'll connect into a function, and then this hit part here. So if we look at this character right over here, hit is the body part that touched the sword, the blade. So imagine the upper torso got touched by the sword. That'd be our hit. And then we're going to do hit.Parent.Humanoid, and then sit equals true. So the humanoid, by the way, is the basis of our character. So it sets everything up for us. So that explains this script. And then our second script is going to be our LocalScript. And then this script will explain when the player clicks, then the sword will come down. So LocalPlayer equals game.Players.LocalPlayer. This will find the player that's holding the sword. And then LocalMouse equals player GetMouse. And then we also want to do LocalTool equals script.Parent. All of this will make sense after. And then local new animation or local new anim equals Instance.new animation. So this is just making a new animation. And finally, local animation ID. All of the code in these scripts will be in the description below. And also this animation ID is going to be inside our new anim. So new anim.AnimationId equals the animation ID. Now that we got all of this local stuff out of the way, we could finally do the actual script part. So what we want to do, tool.Equipped. So it'll sense when the player clicks on the sword, connect function, and then what we want to do after is mouse that button one down, connect, and do a function. now that we've finally got all of this out of the way too, we want to play our animation. So, first what we want to do, local humanoid, as I said, it's the basis of our character over here, equals player.character.humanoid. So if you don't know what the difference between a player and a character is, the player is like the leaderboard of a game, if you don't know. So like, if you see when you're playing a game, there's a leaderboard in the top here, and then each of those are a player. But then the body of the player is called the character. So it'll find the character of the player, and then it'll find the humanoid. Now what we can finally do is local anim equals humanoid load animation, so a loader animation inside our humanoid, new anim. So it'll load this animation with our animation ID. And be careful, you can only load in an animation if the animation ID is not nil, so if it's not empty. You can only load it in if it's not empty, so we already set it as the animation ID. We already set it in the animation ID. And what we could finally do now is anim play. And since we can't test this with a real player, we can test it for dummy here. So if you don't have another player with you too, just go insert a dummy into a workspace. So just press View or Plugins, and those plugins, Build Rig, Block Rig. Just click that, and then you can set it. And also make sure that the humanoid root part, just selected in here, is unanchored, because all real players, all real characters have their humanoid root part unanchored. And if you set it as anchored, then it won't work. So now, let's test our script. Or our sword. Knockout sword. If we tap him here, he'll go on the ground, which is just what we wanted. So that is how to make a knockout sword in Roblox Studio.